What's up, family? Welcome back to the Stop Sinking Show, where we go from struggle to flow. Let's go down metaphor alley for a bit. I want you to imagine this so we can get closer to the feeling of what inspired this visual. Imagine there is a vessel. Imagine above this vessel, there are drippers, multiple drippers, each individually filled with different chemicals, slowly dripping into this vessel, one drop at a time. All dripped into this vessel at different rates, for different times, for different reasons, and sometimes dripped in without any control haphazardly. And if you can imagine, this vessel then constantly has a quantity of each of these chemicals in it, and different reactions happening in this vessel based off of those quantities and the combinations of those different chemicals. Sometimes the chemical concoction is boiling, sometimes it explodes, other times it produces an unexpected result, all caused by the different quantities of chemicals interacting with each other as they are dripped in. Some chemicals work together well and form something new, and some are antagonists and create poison or something toxic. All having a constant chemical reaction and constantly changing as the ingredients change in this vessel. Now, let's extend this visual into the metaphor. Imagine now that the vessel is you, and the drip of chemicals are from different emotions or feelings. Imagine each tap of chemical is either anger, love, lust, sadness, joy, pride, envy, judgment, and so on. All your emotions, all dripping at their own rate into this vessel of you. All adjusting the chemistry of your vessel, upsetting or enabling the reaction of you based off of the different combinations of these now present in this vessel. More love and joy, and the reaction is more likely to be overpowered by the love and joy while still being offset by some of the other present chemicals. More hate and envy, more drips of pride or judgment, and the reaction of your vessel filled with these chemicals will have the consequential effect. You with me so far? Now let's talk about what is possibly in control of the drippers. Can anything be done to adjust their flow, slow their drip, or seize it altogether? And if so, what is exactly the hand that holds the dripper to turn the knob? And the root of that answer begins with your thinking. Primarily, it is thought that controls the on-off switch of the dripper. And secondarily, it is the behaviors and the carried out actions from those thoughts that then adjust the volume and flow of that drip and can speed up the reactions. Now, if you're having trouble visualizing this metaphor, it might help you to pay attention to this biological reaction when you are in transitioning states, and when the biology and its effect on you can be felt in these drips in the most subtle of ways. The problem with starting with visualizing yourself as the vessel filled with all these chemicals is that the view of the vessel is an after state. It's already the filled part of the vessel. It is what is happening now, the reaction that is taking place, the result of all that is filled within it. But to see how you get to all those emotions and reactions and feelings, ultimately your temperament, you have to trace it back to the drip, to the source of what is now you looking at it as a after state of filled vessel having all these reactions. And again, to pay attention to the drip, the most helpful times to do this is when you are most present or going through a change of state, like being awake to going to sleep. Let me tell you how this became clear to me, and maybe you can pay attention to this next time. Have you ever been trying to go to sleep or have woken up in the middle of your sleep to go to the bathroom and try to preserve the sleep so you don't become fully awake and find it hard to go back to sleep. So you keep your eyes half closed and you keep the lights dim just so your brain doesn't fully wake up and make it difficult now to go back to sleep. Now, there are times when the brain can't help it. So you lay down and your mind is more awake than your body. And you're trying to go back to sleep. But you have an angry thought. Something you felt you needed to say to someone, something unresolved. And a drip of that emotion now goes into you. While you're laying there, your heart races. Your body literally heats up. And most smartwatches would detect this as you starting to become awake. But you're not trying to wake up. You're still laying there, now trying to force that angry thought away because you know if you ruminate on it, there will be no way you'll go back to sleep. So you simmer the thought with a more pleasant one. Another drip. Maybe you breathe and focus on your breath. Drip, drip. Until you've successfully offset the drip of anger, have lowered your heart rate again, and headed back to the state required to fall asleep. And this is a literal example and vehicle through which you can feel the subtle effect of each thought on your vessel, each drip. It's hard to pick up on this at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday when you're knee deep into your personhood and roles and already have had multiple interactions with people that all inspired spikes of various different emotions, all dripping into the vessel of you that day. And at 2 p.m., on Tuesday, you are not in a subtle enough state, unless you quiet down, to feel the effect of each thought and emotion on how you are manifesting it in your temperament that day. But the chemistry experiment is happening nonetheless, whether you are aware of it or not. You are just less in control of it, maybe totally unaware of it. And now, the way you manifest that and conduct yourself and your actions only speeds up and adds to the chemistry taking place. The point of all this is that you are having a biological experience. And if you want to be somewhat in control over your experience, then you need to take the reins over the levers that control the biology. That means knowing where your mind is at, seeing with more clarity the consequential actions that the mind is biasing you towards, because it's definitely biasing you, and maybe becoming aware of how you're reacting based off of your chemistry and not responding based off of guided principles. Thoughts turn to behaviors and actions which over time tell the world your character, and much of which, what I'm arguing, is just basic biology, a chemical concoction, gone wrong or gone very right, and that part is on you, and it's shaping your life. No pressure. Love you, family. See you on the next show.